Never really felt good with having a boss. I think the first time that you don't succeed at something is always, I think, a big hit on your ego. A lot of time there's a lot of things that are really heavy just because you keep them inside.
Welcome to a new episode of the podcast Muscle Up. This is actually our first international podcast. I'll talk a little bit more about our guest in a bit. Thank you for all the listeners, for all the support. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube. And let's start. Our guest is Luigi.
Hi everyone.
Can you tell
how you doing?
Hi. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
So I'm Italian. I come from south of Italy. I've lived in the Netherlands for 8 years now. I am a marketer in my background. Dropped out of school when I was 18. Left Italy and moved around, first London, then Malta, and then arrived in the Netherlands. That's kind of in a very quick who I am. I'm very excited to be in this episode and share my story and share what's ChillsNSip.
Yes.
All right. Well, my first question already is, why did you leave Italy?
Burning desire to have more, I think. I come from a quite small village of 30,000 people in the south of Italy. Not much going on there. I was a football player most of my life. And at 18, I decided to stop with that. And I was looking for an escape, looking for something more. So I tried first to move to Milan, but I didn't really enjoy the experience. So ended up choosing London. And since then, I never really went back to Italy. So
Really?
Well, I went to visit, but I always lived outside of Italy since I was 19 years old. So.
Was it a difficult decision to make, to leave Italy?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm close to my family, close to people that I've grown up, friends that I've grown up with. But at the same time, I was feeling very claustrophobic there. So, and also at 18, you kind of very impulsive, I think. You don't have a lot of things that like keep you stuck in one place. So, and I'm always kind of been a bit of a reckless person, so I always jumped into things, and it just felt right
to leave.
Right. How did you then end up in the Netherlands?
I followed my ex.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were living in London, so I met her in London there. Got tired of living in London. Very chaotic city, very expensive, especially for someone of my age, which didn't have any degree or anything. So I was doing very basic jobs. And her job was had the main office in Malta. So we decided to go to Malta, which is a very tiny island. And after 2 years being there, we kind of like were done with that too. So I kind of like moved to the Netherlands without having been here. But it was the only place that really allowed me to leave without having to learn any other language. Didn't want to go to UK. So Amsterdam was like top of the list. And to be honest, when I arrived here, I just loved it from day one. So.
What did you love about it?
I don't know. It kind of had a weird energy. Like it was, I don't know, just walking around, seeing the canals and people on the bikes. I arrived in July as well, so it's like sunny day and the city is like just beautiful, in those periods. So I don't know. I had something. I felt it from day one. I really, really, really liked just walking around the city and seeing the city alive. It was also before COVID, so there was a lot more people on the street and tourists, and like it was a lot more chaotic than it is now. I just loved it. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it.
How long do you live here now?
I think 7 or 8 years, something like that. I moved. I think 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, so 7 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was your first winter? Because it's cold.
Yeah, I mean, I was used to London anyway,
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
it wasn't that bad, but yeah, somewhat it's a little bit worse than UK.
Yeah. A little bit
This
depressing, maybe.
yeah, it's very windy and rainy, so it was tough. It was tough. It was tough. I have to be honest, but I just also liked the lifestyle of the city. So even in winter, like if you live in London, it's depressing and like everything is far. Your friends are far. It's expensive to move around in the city. You are not living in the city center because it's not possible with the like a normal salary. So you're far away from the city center. In Amsterdam is a lot easier to
Access.
have a good life and like enjoy the life in the city. So even in winter it was okay, like it wasn't extremely bad. It was
okay.
difficult for the weather, but it's supported by a good lifestyle.
Yeah. And are you planning on staying here?
Yeah, so I have a Dutch girlfriend at the moment, so and the community and other things, so I'm definitely this is going to be a place where I'm gonna be based. I don't know if I'm gonna live 12 months of the year in the Netherlands. My plan is kind of move back and forward between here and somewhere else, possibly Italy. But definitely, I don't see myself fully leaving the Netherlands for now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And like you said that you started at like regular jobs, probably supermarkets or
yeah. My first job in London was serving breakfast in a hotel. And after that was working in a Chinese takeaway. I was working in the kitchen, cutting vegetables, cleaning dishes and things like that.
And but how did you ended up in Amsterdam with your own company? Like that's a big difference.
Yeah, so because of that, I kind of realized I need to do something with my life. So I started studying a lot of things online by myself, and I kind of taught myself a lot of different skills from front development to design to social media marketing and different aspect of like what's important for a business. I also started learning about business and running your own thing and being your own boss and all those things. Read books about self-development. I don't know, 4 hours work week, like books that changes a little bit your perspective or your thoughts on, you know, how to make money during your life. And also I never really felt good with having a boss. So I think kind of like my personality was kind of directed towards being an entrepreneur and having your own business. And then with a lot of trial and errors, I had a lot of projects that I worked on before moving to Netherlands, and then, you know, with each project there's a lesson you learn, and then you keep going, and eventually, if you don't stop and if you don't give up, you will get to a point where you gained enough experience to get something going that works. That's pretty much what happened.
It's a nice story. Like, can you give us some examples of projects you started and failed?
Yeah, 100%. I had a drop shipping store for clothing.
Failed?
Failed.
Yeah.
All of those are failed.
Okay.
All the experience I had until now, they were all failing, or let's say, or learning experiences. I sold online clothing with the drop shipping. I had print on demand for like phone cases. I tried to do affiliate marketing, starting blogs and like Facebook pages and things like this. Well, I started the psychedelic company, a health company into the psychedelic therapy with a friend of mine, which didn't develop, and I dropped out of it. Those are what comes to mind at the moment, but there's definitely more.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you already said it's learning experience, not failures. How did you deal with that? Did you immediately think, "Oh, this is just a learning experience," or did you first have it difficult with failing at that?
Oh, I think the first time that you don't succeed at something is always, I think, a big hit on your ego.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people, when you start something, you kind of have an expectations like this is the greatest idea, it's gonna work, everybody's gonna love it. The reality is that probably another 1,000,000,000 people already had that idea and tried and failed, and you don't have enough knowledge to surpass a lot of the initial problems that you're gonna have when you start a business. So at the beginning, it was very difficult. I had to confront myself a lot in terms of like, I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not. I was not born to be successful, and like all those internal thoughts and dialogues that I think everybody have. But it's just like, as I said, it's a matter of like understanding that it's a complicated thing, and you can't expect to be an expert the first time. Like, you can't expect that your first business is going to be a success. It can happen. There can be a lot of different elements that falls into place, and you end up having a success story as a first business. But if you're going around asking, you'll notice that the percentage of those are way less than the percentage of people that are going to fail on their first business idea. Yeah. Which also might be not necessarily a bad idea. It can also be that you don't have the skills and the knowledge to cross over certain barriers, right? So it was difficult, but I'm always also try to learn from people that have done that before me. And if you look around, most people that have successful have failed over and over and over. So I think it's just a trajectory. It's just a journey that you have to go through. And slowly you will figure out that the things will fall into place when they have to fall into place.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe... Oh.
You can go.
Maybe for the listener who doesn't know you, can you tell us a little bit about ChillsNSip? What is it?
Yeah, so last January I decided to start a personal challenge, which was jumping in the canal every day, going from 1 minute to 5 minutes. It was a 7-day challenge who turned into 2 months. And during this period, I was journaling and documenting this thing online. And through the online community, I started gathering interest first from close friends, and slowly they started joining me for plunge. Afterwards, we would do coffee. So that kind of became a ritual, a morning habit of going for plunge and then chit chat and like hang out with a coffee. And during this period, basically, I started gaining more and more interest. Then from 10 people, we became 20, and then 30, and then 40. And then it became like, a thing to meet up on the Saturday morning and do this with a large group. And one of the videos that I was posting went viral. And from that, I gained a lot of interest of people wanting to join. So I saw the opportunity to start something a bit more organized, and therefore I decided to start ChillsNSip, which is the first European social wellness community. And at the moment, it became a lot more than just cold plunge and coffee. But at the very beginning, it was just a group of people that wanted to connect while doing something good for themselves, like ice bath and cold plunge and things like this. And at the moment, it grew to 1,500 community members. Wow. And we organized, I think, more than 50 events. And as I said, it grew more to be a social wellness community. So we organize other things also, like yoga, running, HIIT workouts, meditation, breathwork, anything that is related to wellness, with the idea of having this social aspect to it. Because we noticed since already from the cold plunge that the plunge itself was almost an excuse for people to reconnect with other human being. so what we decided to do is to organize wellness experiences with the social aspect. So if you go to our yoga, it's not just yoga, but afterward you will have time to socialize and meet other people and actually connect with those that are going through this experience
as well.
together.
Yeah.
Like the same mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
How come the name came to play? Like chill, is it like the chills?
It's like the
And then-
chills
and
of
then
cold
sip a
and
cup
then
of
sip
coffee.
of the coffee, because that's what we were doing at the beginning. So it was chills from the cold, and then after that going for coffee.
ChillsNSip. Well, this is a good name.
Yeah, thank you.
And now you have got like how do you say it? Like a samenwerking?
Collaboration.
Collaboration together with Trey Moore, right?
Yeah, so we did a few collaborations. Tremor was one of them, and we did one pilot event. Went very well. There's gonna be another event coming up around mid-November. We did also other collaboration with Renaissance, which is a quite popular wellness space in Amsterdam. We collaborated with the pizza backers and
Also with Upfront, right?
with the front. We did the event as well. We did the last run that they did for this year. We were there with our ice bath, trying to give guidance to the people that wanted to
Nice.
try ice bath. Yeah.
I have been to an event last month, I think. Jim hasn't. For anyone who hasn't been at an event, what does an event look like? You arrive and then what happens?
Yeah, so our summer event were basically a combination of wellness activities. So people could choose to do a 6K run around Slaughterplas, yoga session in the park, or breathwork session in the park, and then all together join back for the communal or like social ice bath. We were lucky enough to be sponsored by Ice Tubs, which gave us 10 people inflatable ice bath. So
Wow.
it's a very unique experience as general ice bath, because you do it with multiple people at the same time, which is kind of different. It's makes you connect with the people you're doing it with quite quickly. And then after that, during the ice bath, people can just socialize, get a coffee and talk, and just connect.
Yeah, I like the experience. I think it's very different from doing an ice bath yourself, because I have took ice baths myself, just in
Backyard.
in my backyard in the
Small
water.
river.
Yeah,
Like the sloot in Dutch.
the small canal.
Yeah, this is the name.
But it's very different. It's you come there and it's like the whole social event. One thing also I liked was first the new people had to introduce themselves. So I was a little bit nervous, but I think I gave a good introduction.
Yes.
But after that, you turn on some music and you say, "Go connect," and then everyone walked through each other, and everyone was just connecting with new people and talking. And I think that's very special. There's not much other events that do such a thing.
Yeah, so because at the core, like I was saying before, we noticed that the main things that people are like really after is like connection with others.
Yeah,
And for us, there's very much two elements of it that are like at the basis, which are getting out of your comfort zone. That's why we called you to speak in front of everybody, because it's public speaking. It was one of my fears, and it's one of like most common fear for people.
yeah,
So we try to combine those elements of getting someone to get out of your comfort zone, which can also be going to strangers. So that the second thing that we do to allow everybody to connect with everybody is we get them to move around and sit next to someone that they don't know and start a conversation with someone that they don't know. Because as I said, like our event is around wellness, but the main focus of the event is to get people to reconnect and to really find friendships and feeling part of something that is bigger than just themselves. Because I think for me, the challenge started because I was going through a very tough mental time. And one of the things that I noticed is that isolation is at the forefront of most people's issue, because if you have a supportive system, it's very difficult to get lost in that in the negative loops of thoughts. If you have a supportive system, is you have someone always that's gonna push you to get out of it. But if you're alone, it's very difficult to take yourself out of that. So what we really want to do with this community is to give a place for people to have that support and that support system and that feeling of community and family, because it's really what can help anyone get out of a bad mental space. And I think it's just, as human being, we also tribal, so it is inside of us to wanting to be part of a tribe.
Yeah.
So I especially after all the COVID years and with remote working, which is great, but I think it also is having a huge impact on people, and especially in a city as like Amsterdam, for instance, that can feel very chaotic, but somehow it's very isolating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, probably it's the effect of many big cities, but talking with from experience in Amsterdam, we wanted to give a space for people to come and feel welcome.
Yeah. I think that the thing you said about like connecting with people and don't feeling isolated is very interesting. I don't know if you know about the blue zones. It's like zones in the world where people get really old.
Yeah.
And I think Sicily is also one of them, where people like...
I think it's Sardinia.
Sardinia.
Yeah.
But they research that, and it's because everyone is connecting, and also with like the elderly people, and people get really old, and it's just because they're connected with other people, and they're really happy there. And I think that's very interesting.
It's very simple. Just go to any small village, to your grandma or your like a old person in a village. How many of them had depression? It's very hard to find someone that has like very deep, strong depression, unless it's like caused by other things, some traumas or things. But the issue that we see with society now is very difficult to find in like a small village with old people. And the reason is mostly because of that, because they have their own core system of support. It might be their family, which are very close. Like, for instance, in south of Italy, where I'm from, my family, my mom has 6 brothers and a sister, and they see each other almost every day.
Oh, wow.
So it's just, they always have that support. They can always go to their door, knock on the door, like, can I come in? Like, it's always like they don't have to get invited. It's just a common thing to go and like, I need to talk to you, I need to see you. It's very difficult to have that here, or like in a big city. So it's very, you can see, it's very easy to see for me, especially because I have that experience from where I'm from,
Yeah, I think it's a big switch for you to come from that, and then you come to Amsterdam, where it's totally different.
Yeah,
you also probably don't know a lot of people because you're coming from outside the country.
Yeah, I mean, now it's been a while, so I've did my build my network, luckily. But for instance, my community, 85%, it's international people that are coming to the city, and they don't have anyone, or they really know few people, and they are, seeking that. So it is difficult. It is difficult to come to the city and build your support system.
Yeah. You said it was a challenge of yours to speak in public to groups. When you came to Amsterdam, you came from London with your Dutch girlfriend. How did you build your own network, and was it a challenge?
I think it was a challenge, definitely. I think most of the time, like anyone, you slowly build, your co-workers, friends, and then from co-workers, like some, I don't know, gym friends, and then you slowly start to meet other people. I was lucky enough because when I started here, I went to a traineeship for growth hacking, where I met some of my close friends that I have now, and one of them was Dutch, so he introduced me to a lot of different people, so it was easy to fade in. But for instance, in any other places, if you're unlucky and you don't like your coworkers, it's very difficult to find someone that you can start a friendship with. You know, like especially now with you go to the gym and like you also need to be careful who you're talking to, how you're talking to, and there's a lot of like red zones and things that you can. Yeah, you need to be careful to kind of like speak with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a challenge. I'm not someone that is very extroverted or, you know, has a strong personality to go out and like make friends. I'm very social and I'm very like friendly, so it becomes easy. But yeah, if I wouldn't find someone that would introduce me to people, it would be a lot harder.
Yeah. I talk to a lot of people who have a certain mindset to build something for themselves, especially people with a younger age, around 18, 19. And I find it very difficult to find a community who have the same mindset as they have. Could you give any tips to how to do it? Because when I was 18, and I think it's the same for you, it was really difficult to find people with the same interest and the same mindset to build something. And you know,
Well, what my tip would be to use what you have in your pocket, your phone, in a more in a better way. And what I mean is that the same way that I started getting interest from people that were in my close network because they were interested in doing something like cold plunging, and therefore if they have that interest there might be a high chance of having the same kind of interest into like wellness and self-development and things like this. I would say just try to start something that is related to what you like, or share things that you like and invite other people to join you in that journey. For instance, for business, if you have an idea of a business, or you want to find someone that has the same mindset, don't keep it for yourself. Just share the fact that you want to work on something, that you want people to with the same mindset to join you. And I think it might take a while, but you will find 1, 2, 3 that you will find people that are interested if you put it out in the world.
Yeah.
Is that also the reason you put the whole social thing into Chills and Sip? That for people to build a community, for people who maybe find it difficult, who come here and maybe don't have the network you have to socialize?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I said, I was doing the plunge at the beginning just for myself, but then I noticed the interest of people that wanted to join, and then when one of our video went viral and I was receiving hundreds of messages, then it kind of like fell into my laps, and then it was kind of like natural to me. It's like, let's create a space for all those people to connect and get to know each other. But of course, it's not something that will happen to everybody. So if I have that possibility, then it is one of the reasons why I did it. As I was saying before, one of the main aspect for us at ChillsNSip is to get people to connect again with each other.
Yeah. You said when you started the Cold Plunge Challenge, the 7-day challenge, you were in a really tough position mentally.
Yeah.
Why did you take the challenge to do the 7-day plunge?
Yeah, so I was watching a documentary. It's called Project Iceman.
Okay.
And
from Wim Hof or?
No, Anders Hoffman.
Okay.
He's a Finnish guy, I think. Kind of going through the same thing. He was working in a corporate job which didn't fulfill him at all. Started to like get depressed and decided to change something. And he always had this interest for sports and for pushing his limits. So he went back into that, and from just start training. He took on the challenge of doing the first long distance triathlon in Antarctica, and he started training for that. And one of the way of start training was to do cold plunges. I mean, I highly recommend watching it. It's a very, very, very inspirational and motivational video. documentary. But yeah, I was watching the documentary, it kind of like sparked something into me. As I said, I was going through a very tough mental period. I felt very lost and almost numb to like life. I didn't feel anything, but when I watched that documentary, it kind of lights a spark in me, and I was like, let's do it, let's try. I wanted to prove myself wrong of all those negative thoughts that I had in my head. So for me, one of the way was, okay, let's stick to something, because I always told myself, you're not disciplined, you're not it was something that was in the back of my mind that was influencing the relationship that I had with myself, the fact of not being able to be in discipline. So doing something hard for 7 days, like going to cold plunge every day, it just felt right. And then I decided to do it. And it was one of the best decisions I could ever take.
And did you notice any differences after 7 days?
From day one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, like already like waking up and, getting ready, taking my swimsuit and my flip-flops and walking to the water, for me was already an achievement. So already built a little bit of like the trust within myself. But from the day one that I did the plunge and when I came out, I felt incredible. Like apart from the benefits that the cold plunge gives you, which is like this boost of dopamine and endorphins, and it just lifts your mood, I've just done in a very long time, I've challenged my limiting beliefs, and I've won the battle of actually showing up and doing it. So from day one for me was just a victory, because until then I was saying I felt very numb. I was isolating myself. I wasn't doing anything. Most of my days were just smoking weed, gaming, and just being on the couch watching stuff. And I was throwing away basically my life. So for me to wake up in the morning when it's still dark and it was still cold, and walk to the dock and undressed in the freezing temperature, and then jumping in the water and then stay there for a minute. It was like, all little wins that stacked on top of each other, combined with the feeling that the cold plunge gives you. I was just feeling a completely different person from day one.
That's good to hear.
Can you elaborate maybe a little bit about how you got in that position? Because you said you were really feeling numb to life, and
so
it was a really tough position.
What happened is that a year prior to starting the challenge, I decided to go freelancing, and it started well. And I had 2 clients, and I was working full time, and I was earning good money. But then at one point, my biggest client dropped me, and I was struggling financially. The job that I was doing was not really fulfilling me, so I was thinking like, I'm doing all of this, it's not fulfilling me. I'm struggling financially still at 30 years old. At the same period, my relationship was not going great, and my current girlfriend, which was my girlfriend at the time, broke up with me. So it was a lot of like small things on top of each other. I'm also far away from my family. I was struggling. I was isolating from my friends. I was not really sharing anything with them. I was just keeping everything for myself. And like I was saying before, it's just slowly you get into this position, and then if you're alone, it's very difficult to take yourself out of it. And all those things, it kind of made me feel numb, because I didn't enjoy what I was doing. I didn't have money. Even if I wanted to do or put effort into my career, it didn't really fulfill me. It didn't really give me back anything. It slowly dragged me down. Then what happens usually is that you start to think certain things. and you start to have different, like, those negative pattern in your head, and the more they happen, the more you believe them. The more you believe them, the more you're gonna act like it.
Yeah.
And then for a few months of this, then I ended up being in that position.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you have negative thoughts and then you start to act
Exactly.
like it, and everything goes worse and worse.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you, besides the ice bath, do anything else that helped you get out of that position?
Being open with my friends. Yeah,
Did it help?
I did. Yeah, I think a lot of time there's a lot of things that are really heavy just because you keep them inside, and the moment you just put them out in the world, they become a lot easier. And you also realize that you do have people around you that are supporting you, that are there for you. But if you isolate yourself, you kind of forget. You kind of forget that people might be there for you, or people might be helping you. So just opening up to them and like being honest about how I felt and what was going on helped me a lot as well. And prior to actually starting the challenge, I was one night with them, and we were just hanging out, and yeah, they decided to, like, I don't know, remember for what reasons, but they opened up about what they thought about me in a very nice way, and that completely broke me inside, because I was like, I have so many amazing friends that are like loving me and like they're there for me, and I'm just, hiding and isolating myself and not experiencing this relationship that I have with them. That was one of the turning point that made me realize I need to do something.
Yeah. Do you think maybe they felt a little bit that they felt what your position was, so they started opening up about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm lucky in the sense that I've always kind of been more open. Like I've always been okay with talking about feelings and things like this. It becomes very hard when you're going through it, when you go through very dark time, and especially when you feel like I'm repeating things to them, and that's when you kind of like step out and you don't share anymore. But they were definitely aware of it,
Yeah.
and they probably did that because they realized that I needed it.
Yeah. Do you have a tip for someone who maybe doesn't have friends that are aware of it? How can they open up about themselves?
I think be the first one to open up. I think just create that space of safety for everybody else, because I think the main reason why people don't is like, I don't want to be a burden, like I don't want to bother them with my stuff. But I think that the main things that you can do is just create that safe space for everybody to talk. And if you create that space and the people that would like make fun of you or like get back to you, there's two reasons. Either they're going through something and they're trying to like, hide the fact they're going through something because they're not ready to open up, or they just don't really care about you, so you should find better friends. I think this is like the two reasons.
I think the second one is more easily said than done. Find better friends.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, because like if those friends are really there for you as a friends, it means that they care about you, and that means they love you. They can make fun of you at the beginning, but if you say like, this is serious, I really like need your support, and they still make fun of you, what value are you getting from this relationship? You definitely find someone else that is actually truly a friend.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And nowadays it's easier to make friends because we have ChillsNSip.
Exactly. exactly.
Just go to ChillsNSip and you can make all the
you
friends
make
you
all
want.
the friends you need.
I've got a kind of a deep question. What is masculinity to you?
Whew. I think for me, masculinity is something very dynamic, but I think in the core, it's someone that is able to show their true self and not hide behind a mask. And it's like one aspect of being a human being. I think every human being, doesn't matter the gender, they have masculine side and feminine side. And if you want to be a complete human being, you need to get in touch with both. So in terms of like masculinity is more of the physical aspect, the proudness, the being able to protect and to provide, but it needs to go hand in hand with your feminine side, and you need to be in touch with both sides to be able to really be who you are and like truly in full spectrum. But yeah, in simple terms, I think it's the energy that allows you to protect, to provide, to push yourself, work hard. Yeah.
That's the same as like traditional masculinity, or is it different?
I don't think that is that different to traditional, but I think that when you talk about masculinity, then people tends to put you in that box, where I think it's energy that can co-live with other aspects of your personality. So what I mean by that is that you can be masculine even if you like to dress up well or take care of yourself and I don't know, put creams and things like that, or dance. There is no idea that if you are masculine, then there is other things that you can't do because otherwise you're not masculine. I think that's where there's a little bit of an issue right now.
As long as you can provide, take care, etc., etc., or
yeah, I think as long as you're able to be more trying to find the right words for it.
Take your time.
Yeah, as long as you can put yourself in a situation where you are able to go through difficult times and be an example in terms of like motivation and leaderships and things like this, I think those aspect belongs more to the masculine side.
Yeah, I see a lot of reels or short form content where people say it's okay to be weak, it's okay to cry as a man, and those kind of things. What do you think of that?
But that's exactly what I mean with being a human being means being in touch with both those aspects.
But is it like 50-50?
It doesn't have to be 50-50, but
dynamic.
I mean, it's like if you're a man, you can be a feminine man which has some masculine aspect, in my opinion. That's kind of what I'm trying to explain, is that as a person you have both sides, and the feminine side is the one that makes you more caring and more empathetic and more in touch with your feelings, and the other side is the one that is more like proactive and like dominant and like not violent but more physical. So like, it's a balance, and like it's up to you, like based on the person you are, like how much you have of each.
Yeah.
But to neglect one side, that's where I think people are mistaken.
Yeah.
Like, how can you go through life and think like you're a man and like never go through your feelings? I don't think that's a healthy way of living. I don't think that's a healthy way to being a human being. Because at the end of the day, either man or woman, you're a human being and you're going through this experience as a human being, not as a man or as a woman. You're going through it as a human being, and both sides are part of you. So you need to accept and understand both of your sides.
Yeah, I understand. I think there's a slight difference though. To be the nerd around here, of course we have hormones, and men have more testosterone, and women have more estrogen. But women also have testosterone with lower doses, and the other way around. So I think we experience life in different ways. So yes, indeed, as a human, and yes, we all experience feelings, but I think you experience it differently when you're a man and if you're a woman. Do you think you would agree, or?
I would agree. Yeah. But I think that regardless if what's your levels of testosterone, or I think you're still gonna have to feel it.
Yeah.
Right. Neglect, like the toxicity behind of that is like when you neglect the fact, oh, I'm a man, I'm not supposed to cry, I'm not supposed to feel sadness, I'm not supposed to feel embarrassed, or it doesn't. I don't think it works that way.
No, that's not realistic, of course.
That's what I meant. Like, either if you're a man or a woman, there's gonna be differences.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're going through this experience as a human being.
Yeah, you still feel them.
You need to feel both sides, and there's gonna be men which have more of the masculine side. There's gonna be men which have more feminine side, and I think in any cases it's great. Just don't neglect the other side.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful discussion.
A balance. It's definitely a beautiful discussion. But I think a balance of finding that it's also where you're gonna find your true self. I think, and it is gonna be the healthiest way that you can be. I think.
Yeah.
Do you think some guys are maybe a little bit afraid to show their feminine side?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of that happening. That has been happening for the past decades or so, and it can be very risky. I mean, it can have very big impact on your mental health if you're never able to process sadness, or never able to process feelings of not feeling so masculine, let's say. But the idea is like, why are they afraid? Like, what's the reason of being afraid? What is there to be afraid of? That's more the question.
Being judged, I think.
Yeah, by who? Yeah,
friends, surroundings.
Yeah, but I mean, as we were talking already before the podcast, I'm a big believer of being vulnerable and showing who you really are. Because if you're hiding something because you're scared of being judged, you are not being true to yourself. You're just hiding behind a mask for fear of being judged, and you're gonna attract people that are attracted by the mask you're putting on, not the real you. And with time, you're gonna be surrounded by people that you don't really like, or they're not really your crowd, because you just attract them because you're showing off a certain personality or a certain type of behavior. So if you really want to if you really truly want to connect with someone, and really connect with someone that you actually like, the best way to do that is by being 100% who you are. And that means being also vulnerable and showing other side of you that they might not like.
Yeah, you said before, like, in the base of a human, we all want to be part of something. And I think that some people are hiding some characteristics. of themselves because they are afraid they're not going to be part of something, or if they show it, they're not going to be part of something. By example, if you go to a high school where there is no room for LGBTQ plus, and you feel differently, then you're going to put on a mask because we want to be part of something. Because if I open up and I put my mask off, I'm not going to be part of something.
Yeah.
So yes, you're not going to be true with yourself, but it's also, in my opinion, a form of defense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, I'm not saying that that there is not an issue, and I'm not saying people are doing it just because they want to be liked. Because, as you said, some people are forced because we became, I don't know, there's very big judgment, or we kind of like judge people based on our personality and our likings and our dislikings. So of course there's gonna be people, but I don't know. I try to be as open as possible to who I am, and in some other cases might be more difficult than obviously than what it is for me. So I'm not judging people that do that, because in some cases they have to. But I think that the judgment behind it is where is the problem. It's not the people doing the masking; it's more the judgment behind it is the problem.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of people are judging? Yeah, I think you said it before. A lot of people are judging because they are dealing with something themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think most of the time, like I said, if you bring up something or you behave in a certain way, you're gonna trigger people that are dealing with that, like or they have a history of dealing with that. So if you are someone that is vulnerable and that is open to discuss feelings and sadness, and you're talking with someone that maybe had an abusive father, or someone that didn't allow him or her to like express those feelings, they're gonna have a reaction based on their experience.
Yeah. When you first moved to London, you were 18, right?
Yeah. 19.
19? I mean, you don't have a social network in London. You would like to be part of something. And I could imagine it would be scary to put the mask off and be who you are.
Yeah.
Did you have problems with it? And did you put on a mask first? Or
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's something that everybody does. And
I think so too,
I'm just, it's something that I'm slowly realizing now, but growing up and becoming a bit more mature, I kind of like have enough people around me that love me, and I'm lucky enough to have enough people around me that love me for who I am truly. But my teenage years, I was putting masks. Going to London and trying to connect with people, I was putting masks. It's also like, it's difficult to say at 18 you put on masks, because you're still trying to understand who you are.
Yeah.
So I think just in general, growing up, you just try to do different things, and then you realize who your people are, who you're not people, who are not your people. So at that age, it's a little bit difficult to say like you're putting on a mask. There's probably some things that you know about yourself, but you also don't have the maturity to be so self-reflective. So it's also, those years I think are for those reasons, are like being a teenagers and like 18, 19, 20. It's a state of life where you're supposed to make mistakes. You're supposed to do stupid things and like understand. You're supposed to hang out with people that you don't really like, but you realize that you don't really like them. Why you hang out with them? So yeah, I think at that age is quite normal.
Was there a certain trigger in your life where you truly found yourself, or do you think you're still in a journey to find yourself?
No, I mean, I'm still that journey. I think never ends. But I think when I decided to getting into self-development and meditation, journaling, writing down things. I think they really make you reflect, because I think we are a work in progress, and we have to realize also who we are. And you do that a lot by, in my case, it helped me a lot to write down my thoughts. You also have patterns in your thoughts that you don't realize you have until you write them down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, this is the same thing I was thinking last week.
Yeah.
So you learn a lot. For me, writing down things really helped me. Meditating, it's just a big, long self-discovery journey
That never ends.
Yeah. So, but start reading about, meditation, or how human works, why you behave a certain way, how your brain works. All those kind of topics really helped me understand myself better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you also feel like you have more energy when you're not wearing your mask? Because I feel like it can be very exhausting sometimes to continually put a mask on and act differently than you are.
Very true, yeah. Because you are acting all the time. Can't just be you. Right, yeah, 100%.
Did you have problems with putting off your mask?
Sometimes.
Are you still?
Not anymore. I think now I can be more of myself, but I think a long time I thought I had to act differently to get people to like me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But now I realize that's not necessary, and the people that like me for who I wasn't, that were not the right people for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this is like exactly what I was saying. Like during those years, you have to go through that. And now I'm 30, 31, so I'm a bit more mature. I've had a bit more of experiences, and I realized that all those things that I was doing in the past were because I wanted to be liked. But at the end of the day, all those people that liked me at that period, I have zero contact with them because I have nothing to share with them, because they're not really truly what I'm interested in, and they're not really truly the people that I want to be surrounded by. So yeah, it is trial and error. It is part of the experience of going through life. But if you realize that as young as possible, then you're gonna build long-lasting relationship with people that you really want to be surrounded by.
Yeah, it's beautifully said, I think.
Yeah. I'm also interested in your other company.
Yes,
Standing
so
here
I
for
brought
the-
you
for the
guys
people who
something. I brought some samples for you to try. So I'm launching a supplement company from functional mushrooms. Basically, this is a blend of 4 mushrooms. It's chaga, reishi, lion's mane, and cordyceps. And all of them have different benefits. But yeah, for me, it's like I wanted to find something that helped me also find balance and focus. And I don't have it here, but we are launching also gummies and the Nespresso cups. And for me, for example, it was very difficult to try pills, supplements, and like I suck at it. I'm very bad. I forget it, but I really like sweet stuff. So for me, waking up in the morning and doing and taking a gummy, it's a lot easier than taking a pill. Therefore, I was thinking like, okay, let's combine it with something that can be good for me. And funny enough, I also realized, now if I have next to the gummies, I have whatever I have to take. Now I can do both. I can have the gummies that help me focus and concentrate more. And on the side, I can also stack up other things, supplements or the things that I can do that are good for myself. But yeah, it's new company we're launching, Nooni.
Yeah.
Nooni?
Yeah, Nooni.
Where does the name come from?
Nootropics.
Nootropics, okay.
Nooni, yeah. And yeah, it's basically we're trying to build products or wellness products that fit into everybody's lifestyle. So if you want just a coffee, You can have an espresso cup with lion's mane, and not only have your coffee, you also have something that is good for yourself. And for people that don't know, functional mushroom is just mushroom that have certain benefits. For instance, lion's mane is really good for improving your cognitive functions. It increases the neuron growth, and allow you to have more focus, more concentration. Cordyceps, for instance, gives energy. Reishi and lion and chaga are working as a support for your immune system, and also calm you down and make you better deal with stress and anxiety and things like that.
Okay.
When did you start this company?
So the company started 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. So it's pretty recent. But I already had background. I worked with mushrooms and psychedelic mushrooms, and I had already knowledge in the sector. So I knew there was something there already. I just decided to start this recently with 2 co-founders, because I wanted to implement in a way that it can be beneficial for everybody. So it doesn't matter if you like coffee, if you like to take drops, or if you like to take capsules. We're launching like a product for everybody, and we're gonna also launch powder blends. So you can do your matcha, your coffee, or your cacao, chocolate.
You can put it in.
Yeah.
And I like coffee a lot, but does the coffee cups taste like coffee? And is there caffeine in there?
It tastes like coffee. Yeah. There's a very small hint of a bit more healthy taste, but I love coffee too. So it's definitely a great coffee taste. And we are not launching the powders yet for that reason. We are trying to nail down the taste of it. And yeah, it, like for instance, in espresso cups, it's just any other Nespresso cups.
Like there's caffeine in there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And are you bringing out coffee beans as well? Because I don't have
coffee beans, not yet.
Okay. When they come out, I want to be the first one to try.
No, but as I was saying, we are coming out with the powder so that you can just mix with milk or
of course,
or
put
water,
it in your coffee.
And then it is a coffee powder.
Oh,
it's coffee powder, but that has inside the functional mushrooms. Or we're gonna have 3 lines. This is a coffee powder, the matcha powder, and the cacao powder.
Okay, and like, can I put the coffee powder inside my barista thing machine, like the piston, you know?
No, because that would be just grounded, straight beans. Grounded beans.
Yeah. Okay.
This is more like solid, like to mix.
Like instant
with
coffee.
Hot water.
Yeah.
Okay.
With hot water and milk, or milk.
Yeah, I'm curious. I would like to try.
Can people already buy the products?
Not yet, but they can sign up. We're gonna launch in a couple of weeks. Actually, I don't know. Depends when this goes out, but
November.
When?
December, end of December.
So yes, they can already.
Okay.
Where can they find you?
Getnooni.com.
Getnooni.com.
Yeah.
We will put it in the description as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or it will be also available through ChillsNSip.com. There's gonna be a section where you can check it out.
Very nice. So you started 4 months ago. Do you think the experience of starting the whole community of ChillsNSip has helped you with also creating this company? Like, you know what you have to do.
Yeah, so I was saying before, I had a lot of business experiences, so now I kind of know the first puzzle steps, let's say, pieces of steps that go into building something. I'm also not building it alone, so I have help from 2 of my co-founders. But definitely ChillsNSip has been like a huge learning experience, because before that I never organized events. I've never had a community. I didn't know what it meant to have a community. I didn't know what it meant to organize events and collaborate with brands and create the experiences. So there's a lot more that I learned from it, also in terms of like what it means to build an audience and what it means to to take it from the different side, because usually when you build a brand, you build a product, you focus on the product, and you focus on like the service, the product, and all the things, and then after that is done, you have some sort of like personas in mind, and then you launch it on the market, and then you start to gather data on who your actual customers are. And with ChillsNSip was kind of the opposite, where you kind of got a lot of people involved, and now we're figuring out, okay, we have this many people, how can we provide value to them, and how we can, enhance the experience of being part of ChillsNSip. So that was kind of a nice learning lesson. Yeah.
What were some of the challenges you experienced?
Yeah, like all I said, organizing events, like having 100 people, 150 people, 200 people, 300 people, and having a timeline and understanding this needs to happen at this time, and like just organizing event is a big thing. It was a big struggle. Also, trying to fit everything without commercializing too much the concept. It has been a bit of a struggle, because unfortunately, if you want to work full time on something, it needs to generate some sort of revenue, because otherwise, unless you have the financial freedom for it, it's a bit difficult. So that kind of has been a little bit of the struggle, figuring out how to make it generate money without commercializing too much the idea, without losing that sense of community. That's kind of like the two main struggles that I had.
Do you have an example of something you learned when you started ChillsNSip that helped you with starting your company Nooni?
Yes. Make a lot of mistakes and test things as fast as you can. One of the main reason why we managed to grow so fast is because we were doing things regardless of how good we could do it, how much experience we had. We just had, okay, what we can add to the event. Let's just try it. Let's just test it. And then a lot of time you might be wrong. You might think like, oh, these people will love this, and then they don't really care, or something like they're not gonna really care about this, and they love it. So yeah, test, and do things, do mistakes, break things, and try to do it in a way where you understand where the mistakes were, like where the lessons were.
Mm-hmm.
So don't make mistakes for the thing of making mistakes, but try to make mistakes and learn from it.
Yeah. How did you conquer your last problem to not build it like mainstream and commercial, but still work on it full time? Or are you not working on it full time?
So I'm not working on it full time yet. We are in the process of testing a new way of monetizing without changing or without losing the feeling of community, which is basically trying to find brand deals and use the audience to get money from companies.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still testing, so
Yeah.
I don't know if that was gonna be the right way or if it's gonna work, but as I said, we're gonna see, test it, and figure out how it's gonna go.
Yeah. And do you see Nooni and ChillsNSip like as one company in 10 years, or is it?
No, they're
still
not.
separate?
They're not the same company. I don't want it to be the same company. We also have different founders. I'm part of both, but I have co-founders in ChillsNSip and co-founders in Nooni, which are separate. I do feel like there's an overlapping in the sense of like also with Nooni, community is going to be a big aspect of it. There's going to be obviously a lot of collaboration between Nooni and ChillsNSip. They kind of go towards the same goal of getting people to have a better and more balanced life. There's a lot of overlapping, but they're going to be two different entities.
Yeah. And where do you see both of the companies in 5 years? What is your main goal?
So ChillsNSip, I think I wanted to be going international, so trying to open new locations and not being just stuck in Amsterdam. And yeah, Nooni also being part of take a large market share in the wellness supplement space.
I understand. I've got also another thing that I noticed, and I don't know where I read it or where I got it from. Maybe I heard it from you, I'm not sure. And I'm going to be real critic, is it the English word, about this? But you said at a ChillsNSip event you can choose with yoga, meditation, breathwork, and running around the Sloterplas. And then take an ice bath together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where I'm going?
I'm not sure.
Okay. When you run for 6 kilometers and then you jump in the ice bath, I heard it was not good because your veins start to shrink a little bit. And correct me if I'm wrong. You know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
That is not good for recovery.
It's not really good for recovery.
I think it's the opposite.
It is?
Yeah, I think
it's
you're
not good. It's not good. So ice bath is not good for
Hypertrophy?
like to grow muscles.
Yeah.
But it's really good for recovery. So if you do running or any sort of cardio, it's very good for recovery.
And then
Because
straight
what
after.
Yeah, it's pretty good to
with
do after.
cardio you can do it straight after, but with like training,
Gym,
Strength
fitness.
training and stuff, you
Strength
need to
training,
wait
you
4 or
need to
5
wait,
hours, I
yeah.
think. And exactly what you were saying. So what happens is that your veins shrink. So there's gonna be less inflammation, a swelling, and what happens is that when you get out of the ice bath, those veins opens up and is gonna increase blood pressure, and you're gonna clean up a lot of your internal
Bacteria or something.
Yeah, which
that's also why when you have inflammation you put on an ice pack to like stop the inflammation. And that's the same when you have run and to go in an ice bath, it's actually the same.
There goes my excuse.
But you were right with strength training. It's not good to go in an ice bath straight after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually breaks. So what you do is you break all the growth that you've done. You completely break it if you go afterward.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Now I have to take a cold shower.
So actually, if you got to do strength training, it's a lot better, in my opinion, to do it before. And actually, I think there's been some studies where they show that there is like I think 20% boost in performance if you take an ice bath and then you go for strength training.
It's true. Yeah, I read it as well.
I did it yesterday actually. It wasn't an ice bath because the canal isn't that cold. But I ran and then after that I jumped in the canal behind my house.
The video was
amazing.
really good. I would like a little canal in my backyard, but I don't have it. I should buy an ice bath. Yeah. All right.
You were saying something?
Oh, I was finished.
Oh.
That was my question. I was just curious. So no strength training at ChillsNSip.
Well, it doesn't really make sense. No.
Right.
So we talked a little bit about your goals with ChillsNSip and with Nooni, but do you have any personal goals? What you hope to accomplish?
Good question. I think I've been so busy with the. No, I think the personal goals for the next years are more not really subjected to achievements, let's say. I would like to travel more. I think explore more the world, because I love to travel, but in the last few years I have not done much of it. So I think next year my goal will be to just explore more and travel more.
I'm not sure if I heard it correctly, but when you came into Amsterdam, you went to a learning.
Oh, growth hacking.
Hacking.
Yeah, so it's basically growth hacking means that you find small hacks to grow a company.
Oh.
So it's marketing / data analysis.
Hacking.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought hiking, like walking, you know?
No, not hiking.
No, okay, there goes my question.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm out.
What message would you like to share with our listeners?
Put the mask off.
Yeah, I think I was just rethinking about the entire conversation. I think that the main message is really try to be yourself. Don't be scared of being vulnerable and connect with people. Don't isolate yourself.
I said.
I think that's nicely said. How can people join the community of ChillsNSip?
Yes, so they can find us on Instagram, ChillsNSip, or on the website chillsnsip.com. Yeah, very easy. From the Instagram or the website, there's a link. They can join the WhatsApp community. In the WhatsApp community, there's different groups based on the activities that you prefer. And there's going to be the main channel where we usually share new upcoming events.
Okay. And Nooni, once again?
Yeah, and Nooni is going to be getnooni.com. And it's just a website you can browse and see what you prefer. There's going to be different products based on your likings.
No. And do you also have a personal Instagram? Well, I know you do, but
I do. It's Luigi Zottoli. So it's Zottoli.
Okay.
I'll put it in the description also.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a very, very nice conversation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Perfect.
I'm going to do the closing in Dutch because I haven't translated it.
Wait.
Do you want to try in English?
I want to try. Stay motivated, disciplined, and
focused on your goals. Thanks for listening to Muscle Up, and see you in the next episode.
Wow.